What's good, YouTube? Because of Kobe here. So, we're diving into Tim Minchin Storm. This one's been highly requested by a lot of people. This one is a highly requested one. It's a 10-minute long beat poem. Listen, when this man writes songs, the amount of stuff that he says is ridiculous. A whole poem for 10 minutes? That's insane. We're going to be here forever. This is going to be the only video of the night. I can guarantee that. Because I already know. We're going to be here for a hot minute breaking down this one. And I'm really excited. I've been putting it off for a night where I felt like I wanted to make a super long video. Because I knew it was going to take a long time to make it. And it would only be like a one video night probably. So I've been saving this one for you guys. But we're going to get into it tonight. Thank you to everyone who requested this one. This is highly requested, so here you guys go. If you're new, subscribe for me. We talk about mental health, addiction, world issues, everything in between. Break down all the lyrics, instrumentation. I don't think we have any instrumentation. He might surprise us. I don't know what to expect with this, but I believe he might just rifle off amazing words to us for 10 minutes, and I'm all here for it. Tim Minchin is the most unpredictable artist that we have on the entire channel. Hands down, he is the most unpredictable that I have seen when it comes to what he will say, what he will talk about. He's not afraid to be controversial. He's highly opinionated and has a way of expressing it that is very bold, and I like that a whole lot about him as well. So we're all here for Tim Minchin. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for all the support. If you struggle with mental health and addiction, please go get yourself some professional help, man. You can live a better life for yourself. You can encourage people to do the same thing on the other side of it. As somebody who did that for their own self, I pulled myself out of drug addiction and alcoholism that had lasted for over a decade of my life, right? So you can, I promise you, as someone who went through it for that long and still is standing here to talk to you guys, you can pull yourself out of that, and then you can encourage other people to do the same thing. You can spread positivity, you can spread love, and you can spread encouragement to also hopefully pull other people out of those things and cycles that they're stuck in. So we're going to get into this. I'm not going to ramble. This is going to be a long one. I'm Vikas Akavi. A reaction video today keeps the doctor away. Fuck those apples. We got Tim Minchin with Storm.
I think I can speak for contemporary males. I don't know if you guys agree. You get to that point in your life, like I think mostly in the early 30s for men anyway, where you start to realize that everything you want to say, everything you want to express in your life can't necessarily be expressed in comedy song.
I don't know if every single one of us has had that realization, but I understand the sense of it, man.
and I think it's at this point in your average man's life when he might choose to write a 9-minute beat poem. This is a 9-minute beat poem.
This is why I love him. His introductions are so classic, man. He even has classic introductions. Deadpan, man. I love the deadpan that he implements.
It's called Storm.
Oh, here we go. I got you.
In a North London top floor flat, all white walls, white carpet, white cat, rice paper partitions, modern art and ambition. The host's a physician, bright bloke, has his own practice. His girlfriend's an actress, an old mate of ours from home, and they're always great fun, so to dinner we've come. The fifth guest is an...
This is fucking epic. This is epic. I love that he made it jazzy. That's fucking epic right there. It reminds me, this is like some Tom Waits shit. Tom Waits is one of the most classic storytelling artists ever. He does stuff like this, is a lot of what he would do. The beat poems. Tom Waits was definitely a beat, right? You guys know. That man was fucking wild in his younger years, dude. I love these lyrics. I like how he's describing it as a story. Very, very poetic here. Inner North London, top floor flat, all white walls, white carpet, white cat. Nice scheme. Rice paper partitions, modern art and ambition. I told you guys, this guy's low key a rapper. If Tim Minchin decided to rap, he would instantly make an amazing rap song in a second, if he ever decided to. He said, Rice paper partitions, modern art and ambition. That is so beautiful. The host's a physician. Bright bloke has his own practice. His girlfriend's an actress. Wow. His girlfriend's an actress even. So he's got his own practice, but his girlfriend's an actress. That's winning on all fucking accounts right there, let's be fair. An old maid of ours from home, and they're always great fun, so to dinner we've come. Oh, they've gone to dinner. We're going to dinner. We're going to dinner. That's what Tim is doing here.
Unknown. The hosts have just thrown us together for a favour because this girl's just arrived from Australia and she's moved to North London and she's a sister of someone or has some connection.
I love that he just takes exactly how you would tell a story like this to a person that you were telling it to in real life and just says it with rhymes. And that's the brilliance behind a beat poem, obviously. He's taking the way you would tell a story normally and just adding some rhymes and structure into it. And it just sounds epic. It really does. This is awesome. I love this side of him. Oh, did he do more stuff like this? Is this the only beat poem he's ever made, or does he have more like poetry, spoken word kind of stuff, that kind of vibe going on? Because I've wrote a lot of spoken words over the years. I got into spoken word years ago and really enjoy it a lot. So if he has more stuff like this, I'm all here for it, because this is some of my favorite kind of writing. He said the fifth guest is an unknown. The hosts have just thrown us together for a favor. This girl's just arrived from Australia and has moved to North London. She's the sister of someone or has some connection. He's saying, I don't even know what's going on here with this whole thing. I don't know this unknown guest. He says they've just thrown this together to make her feel welcome because she's coming the whole way from Australia to North London. That's a big move right there. That's a big move right there, I'll say.
As we make introductions, I'm struck by her beauty. She's irrefutably fair with dark eyes and dark hair. But as she sits, I admit I'm a little bit...
I feel like I'm watching the fucking Pink Panther with this background music. Oh goodness, this shit is great. This is epic right here.
Wary, because I noticed the tip of the wing of a fairy tattooed on that popular area just above the derriere, and when she says, I'm Sagittarian, I confess a pigeonhole starts to form and is immediately filled with pigeon when she says her name is Storm. Conversation.
Oh man. He is brilliant with the descriptors. It is so wonderfully done. You feel like you're reading a novel when it comes to a Tim Minchin lyric sheet. That's how great he really is at what he does here. I really appreciate it. He said, as we make introductions, I'm struck by her beauty. She's irrefutably fair with dark eyes and dark hair. But as she sits, I admit I am a little bit wary, because I noticed the tip of a wing of a fairy tattooed on that popular area just above the derriere. Man. Good old derriere. I used to have I took 2 years of German back in high school, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. especially the first year, my teacher was epic. He let us watch fucking The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock in class. That's how epic he was. But the second year, we got a new teacher that was a little bit more strict. A little bit is a bit of an understatement. I was always in trouble when it came to him. But derriere was like one of his favorite things to say whenever he was telling somebody to be seated or to stop acting up. Put your derriere in that seat, he would always say. I could tell you guys a funny fucking story about that right now if I really wanted to. Because what ended up happening is I quit his class like halfway through the year and got switched to a study hall. And I was always known for being kind of a little bit of a funny kid when it came to teachers in school. I liked to fuck with them if I had some sort, or if they like had some sort of like issue with me. It was pretty mutual most of the time from my own perspective back then. So I remember I was walking, my study hall was like right close to where his classroom was, and I was walking past it one day, and I like glanced in, and everybody started smiling because they're like, "Oh dear, if he comes in here," because this man had like walked me the whole way down to the principal's office before. So I walked in during my study hall, and everybody got like real quiet, and then they're like trying not to bust out fucking laughing, and then he looks over and sees me, and I remember he's just like, "Auf Wiedersehen." It's like, yep, yes sir, and I bolted the fuck out of there. Didn't get in trouble for that one. He didn't get me in trouble for that one, but that was after I left his class. I just thought that was funny. That fucking word reminded me of that story, and I had to tell it because it's funny as hell. He says, so she's got the tattoo on the popular area just above the derriere. When she says I'm Sagittarian, this rhyme scheme is insane. Top tier penmanship. He said, when she says I'm Sagittarian, I confess a pigeonhole starts to form and is immediately filled with pigeon when she says her name is Storm. So, here, right? This annotation is epic. It says the narrator starts to pigeonhole her, that is, to make wider assumptions about her based on what he's already observed. In this instance, the subject's choice of tattoo and interest in astrology lead him to conclude that their personalities will clash. Yeah, once he found out her name was fucking Storm, he probably thought about running away. Yeah. I could see Tim Minchin being a little bit off put by that kind of vibe. Maybe slightly. He's a little bit it's a little bit on the other side of things, I would say. I love it. This is fucking epic.
Is initially bright and light-hearted, but it's not long before Storm gets started. You can't know anything. Knowledge is merely opinion.
Oh dear.
She opines over her Cabernet Sauvignon vis-a-vis some unhippily empirical comment made by me.
That's one of the greatest fucking ways to call somebody stupid that I've ever heard. Oh, I would not want to debate this man. He might actually have won an argument with a woman before. We know he did in the last song we covered by when he wrote the anti-love song. Lord have mercy, this guy's too much. I love it. Conversation is initially bright and light-hearted, but it's not long before Storm gets started, he said. You just had to let the gears wind for a minute. The gears just had to shift. She says, you can't know anything. Knowledge is merely opinion. She opines over her Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet was my shit whenever I was still drinking. When I tell you guys I would buy 2 bottles and they would be gone by the next day, that ain't a joke. I loved that shit, man. He said she opines. I love that he said it like that. Vis-a-vis. some unhippily empirical comment made by me. This guy.
Not a good start, I think. We're only on pre-dinner drinks, and across the room my wife widens her eyes, silently begs me, be nice. A matrimonial warning not worth ignoring, so I resist the urge to ask Storm whether knowledge is so loose weave of a morning when deciding whether to leave her apartment by the front door or the window on her second floor.
He's next level, man. You gotta appreciate stuff like this. This is incredible right here. This is some of the best lyricism we've had on the channel. Listen, when I tell you guys that this is like the level of lyricism that I would consider spitters like Eminem to be at, people like Tupac to be at, so on and so forth, Tech 9, we could keep going. Nas. Yeah, Royce to 5'9". Not a good start. I think we're only on pre-dinner drinks, he says, and across the room my wife widens her eyes, silently begs me be nice, a matrimonial warning not worth ignoring. We gotta throw Kendrick in there too. I can't forget Kendrick's name. He's up there. Kendrick and Lil Wayne as well. We're just listing off great lyricists now. Tim is up there with that. Oh, I'll say, this is something special right here. This is a special level of lyricism and storytelling. He said his wife with widened eyes is begging him to be nice and a matrimonial warning not worth ignoring. So I resist the urge to ask Storm whether knowledge is so loose weave of a morning when deciding whether to leave her apartment by the front door or the window on the second floor. He said, so loose weave of a morning. What a fucking string of words this man is on right now. Man. He's tempted to challenge Storm's. That is a fuck of a word. Damn, these annotations are on point, man. The narrator is tempted to challenge Storm's epistemological argument by pointing out that she actually relies on her own knowledge to be empirical. His example is that she knows that if she left her apartment through the window, she'd fall and injure or kill herself. Exactly. This man would be a master debater. My word.
The food is delicious, and Storm, whilst avoiding all meat, happily sits and eats as the good doctor, slightly pissedly, holds court on some anachronistic aspect of medical history when Storm suddenly insists, but the human body is a mystery. Science just falls in a hole when it tries to explain the nature of the soul. My hostess throws me a glance. She, like my wife, knows there's a chance I'll be off on one of my rare but fun rants, but I shan't. My lips are sealed. I just want to enjoy the meal, and although Storm is starting to get my goat, I have no intention of rocking the boat. Although it's becoming a bit of a wrestle, because like her meteorological namesake, Storm has no such concerns for our vessel.
Tim Minchin is fucking over here talking about what gets dissed inside of American music towards the liberal side of things. But he's describing it in the literal scenario of what it would be like to have a dinner with a random one that just showed up. And the emotional barrier between him and this Storm character is so damn tense. Because he's about to start popping off. I imagine by the end of this song, he's going to say some of the most funny things we've ever heard, so I'm so here for it. The food is delicious, and Storm, whilst avoiding all meat, happily sits and eats while the good doctor slightly pissedly holds court on some anachronistic aspect of medical history. When Storm suddenly insists, but the human body is a mystery. Science just falls in a hole when it tries to explain the nature of the soul. Oh, goodness. My hostess throws me a glance. She, like my wife, knows there's a chance that I'll be off on one of my rare but fun rants. Says, but I shan't. My lips are sealed. I just want to enjoy the meal. Peacekeeping right now. We're in the peacekeeping stage of storytelling, right? It's mutual still. Says, and although Storm is starting to get my goat, I have no intention of rocking the boat. Although it's becoming a bit of a wrestle, because like her meteorological namesake, shut the fuck up, Tim. Storm has no such concerns for our vessel. How does he come up with this shit, bro? This is complicated. This is really elite writing right here. Wow, the tie-in and everything, man. To the rocking the boat scheme, but now it's becoming a wrestle because she's much like her meteorological namesake. He says that is fucking hilarious right there.
Pharmaceutical companies are the enemy. They promote drug dependency at the cost of the natural remedies that all our bodies need. They are immoral and driven by greed. Why take drugs when herbs can solve it? Why use chemicals when homeopathic solvents can resolve it? I think it's time we all return to live with natural medical alternatives. And try as I like, a small crack appears in my diplomacy dike. By definition, I begin, alternative medicine, I continue, has either not been proved to work or been proved not to work. Do you know what they call alternative medicine that's been proved to work? Medicine.
I told you, you don't want to debate him. That logic is too much inside of him, man. Pharmaceutical companies are the enemy. They promote drug dependency at the cost of the natural remedies that all of our bodies need. They are immoral and driven by greed. I mean, that's not invalid, but because we all know that there are much better alternatives than some of the pills that are made, obviously. You can argue both sides of it because some medications are beneficial and don't have long-lasting negative effects, right? So, it just depends. But she is on one of those rants that is just bam, in your face, in the middle of dinner. And Tim's like, alright, I'm not having it. I'm gonna slay this with a one little fucking argument. But she says they're immoral and driven by greed. Why take drugs when herbs can solve it? Why use chemicals when homeopathic solvents can resolve it? Beautiful scheme right here. I think it's time we all return to live with natural medical alternatives. It would be ideal if we could figure that out in an affordable manner. But when you go into the health store that has all the natural stuff, you end up spending $100 on 3 things. So get rich or die trying. Try as I like, a small crack appears in my diplomacy dike. Brilliant. Brilliant. Like a dam, but obviously the pun, dyke is a slur towards a lesbian, so he put that pun in there, that nice double there. He says, I'm about to not be so diplomatic. Fucking wild, man. Fucking wild. he knows how to be offensive while being funny. Like, some people will be like, I can't believe he just said that. Some people get offended real easily, man. You just never know who's going to get offended by something simple like that, even. Said, by definition, I begin. Alternative medicine, I continue, has either not been proved to work or been proved not to work. Do you know what they call alternative medicine that's been proved to work? Medicine. Facts. Once it's been proven to work, it's officially recognized as a medication, even if it's a plant or a natural thing. Fucking wild, man.
So you don't believe in any natural remedies? On the contrary, Storm, actually, before we came to tea, I took a remedy derived from the bark of a willow tree. A painkiller that's virtually side effect free. It's got a weird name. Darling, what was it again? Masprin? Basprin? Oh yeah, aspirin, which I paid about $1 for down at the local drugstore. The debate briefly.
On the contrary, Storm, actually, before I came to tea, I took a remedy derived from the bark of a willow tree, a painkiller that's virtually side effect free. It's got a weird name. What was it again? Masprin, Basprin? Oh yes, aspirin. He's so... The way he just strings things along and extends them out with these rhyme schemes is incredible. Which I paid about $1 for down at the local drugstore.
Bates as my hosts collect plates, but when they return with desserts, Storm pertly asserts Shakespeare said it first. There are more things in heaven and earth than exist in your philosophy. Science is just how we're trained to look at reality. It doesn't explain love or spirituality. How does science explain psychics, auras, the afterlife, the power of prayer? I'm becoming aware that
Tim's about to go down the rabbit hole, man. This is nicely written. The debate briefly abates as my hosts collect plates, but when they return with desserts, Storm pertly asserts. Shakespeare said it first. There are more things in heaven and earth than exist in your philosophy. Science is just how we're trained to look at reality. It doesn't explain love or spirituality. How does science explain physics, auras, the afterlife, the power of prayer? She's asking the real questions now. Storm has gotten into the rabbit hole. Tim's about to give us a guided tour, I'm guessing.
I'm staring. I'm like a rabbit suddenly trapped in the blinding headlights of vacuous crap. Maybe it's the Hamlet she just misquaffed, or the 6th glass of wine I just quaffed, but my diplomacy dyke groans, and the asshole held back by its stones can be held back no more. Look, Storm, sorry, I don't mean to bore.
Oh my goodness. Said I'm becoming aware that I'm staring. I'm like a rabbit suddenly trapped in the blinding headlights of a vacuous crap. Maybe it's the Hamlet she just misquoted, or the 5th glass of wine I just quaffed, but my diplomacy dyke groans. He said, and the arsehole held back by its stones can be held back no more. Man. That is beautifully written right there. Such a great rhyme scheme. Nice descriptors. He's on his 5th glass of wine. Lord have mercy. Tim is about to go in here. He said, but my diplomacy dyke groans. The arsehole held back by its stones can be held back no more. He said, the asshole's about to make an appearance.
But there's no such thing as an aura. Reading auras is like reading minds, or tea leaves, or star signs, or meridian lines. These people aren't applying a skill. They're either lying or mentally ill. Same goes for people who claim to hear God's demands, and spiritual healers who think they've got magic hands. By the way, why do we think it's okay for people to pretend they can talk to the dead? Isn't that totally fucked in the head, lying to some crying woman whose child has died and telling you you're in touch with the other side? I think that is fundamentally sick. Do we need to clarify here that there's no such thing as a psychic? What?
Tim is so mad. He was feeling a type of way when he wrote this one. You gotta love songs that just question the things in life. Tim's one of those people that isn't scared to push those boundaries. A lot of people get pissed off about stuff like this, but I think that it's valid for Tim to express his perspective, especially in the creative manner that he's selected to do what he's doing with this right here. As a beat poem, wow, very, very nicely done here. This is crazy. He said, "Look, Storm, sorry I don't mean to bore ya." He said, "But there's no such thing as an aura. Reading auras is like reading minds or tea leaves or star signs or meridian lines." He said, "These people aren't plying a skill. They're either lying or mentally ill. Same goes for people who claim they can hear God's demands or spiritual healers who think they've got magic hands." He's even dissing the Reiki. Tim's too much, man. He is a self-claimed atheist, so what do you expect whenever it comes to him getting off on a tangent about this kind of stuff, right? And hey, believe whatever you want to believe. The way that he has expressed this is absolutely brilliant. He said, "By the way, why do we think this?" He went off here. He said, "By the way, why do we think it's okay for people to pretend they can talk to the dead? Isn't that totally fucked in the head? Lying to some crying woman whose child has died and telling her you're in touch with the other side. I think that's fundamentally sick. Do we need to clarify here that there's no such thing as a psychic?" Tim went off, man. Man, oh man. Whew. He's gonna keep going here. This is about to get really real.
Are we fucking two? Do we actually think that Horton heard a who? Do we still believe that Santa brings us gifts, that Michael Jackson didn't have facelifts? Are we still so stunned by circus tricks that we think the dead would want to talk to pricks like John Edward? Storm, to her credit, despite my derision, keeps firing off cliches with startling precision, like a sniper using bollocks for ammunition.
Oh man. This guy can diss anything. Wow. He said, "What are we fucking two? Do we actually think that Horton heard a who? Do we still believe this?" Oh my god. Oh my goodness. He even went there, man. Sheesh. Michael Jackson didn't have facelifts. Are we still so stunned by circus tricks that we think that the dead would want to talk to pricks like John Edward? Hold on. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I fucking knew it. There's a picture of him on Dr. Phil right here. He's a TV personality that claims to have supernatural powers, including being a medium. That's who I thought that was. Wow, he's firing personal shots here, man. Name drops and everything. Michael Jackson, John Edward, Santa. Nobody's safe. Tim Minchin is crazy, man.
You're so sure of your position, but you're just closed-minded. I think you'll find that your faith in science and tests is just as blind as the faith of any fundamentalist.
Wow.
Wow, that's a good point. Let me think for a bit. Oh, wait, my...
Storm, to her credit, despite my derision, keeps firing off cliches with startling precision, like a sniper using bollocks for ammunition. My God. Wow. He's one of the best lyricists that's ever lived. This is really, really good writing. You're so pure of your position, but you're... She said, "You're so sure of your position, but you're just closed-minded. I think you'll find that your faith in science and tests is just as blind as the faith of any fundamentalist." That rhyme scheme is fucking insane. Bollocks. is the proper word for the entire rhyme scheme. Tim saying a sniper using bullets for ammunition is great. That's epic right there. But, I mean, good lord, this is crazy right here. He's not even close to done either.
Mistake, that's absolute bullshit. Science adjusts its views based on what's observed. Faith is the denial of observation so that belief can be preserved. If you show me that, say, homeopathy works, then I will change my mind. I will spin on a fucking dime. I'll be as embarrassed as hell, but I will run through the streets yelling, "It's a miracle! Take physics and bin it. Water has memory, and whilst its memory of a long-lost drop of onion juice seems infinite, it somehow forgets all the poo it's had in it. You show me that it works, and
Oh my goodness, bro. He said, well, that's a good point. Let me think for a bit. Oh, wait, my mistake. That's absolute bullshit. He said, science adjusts its views based on what's observed. Faith is the denial of observation so that belief can be preserved. That is one of the most insane fucking sentences I've ever heard in my life. This guy is crazy with a pen. And he memorized this as well. Amazing. He said, if you show me that, say, homeopathy works, then I will change my mind. I will spin on a fucking dime. I'll be as embarrassed as hell, yet I will run through the streets yelling, "It's a miracle, take physics and bin it." Water has memory, and whilst this memory of a long-lost drop of onion juice seems infinite, it somehow forgets all the poo it's had in it, he says. So, this annotation will explain some things right here. So he's making a reference to homeopathy, the pseudoscientific alternative medicine of which there is a belief that water remembers every substance that has ever passed through it. This has never been proven in a trustworthy scientific study and is almost unanimously rejected by scientists across all fields. For those that were wondering. Tim is going off here, man. He's so well educated.
how it works, and when I've recovered from the shock, I will take a compass and carve fancy that on the side of my cock. Everyone's just staring now, but I'm pretty pissed and I've dug this far down, so I figure, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Wow. Man. He said, you show me that it works and how it works, and when I've recovered from the shock, I will take a compass and carve fancy that on the side of my cock. I love this guy. Man, oh man. He says everyone is just staring now, but I'm pretty pissed and I've dug this far down, so I figure in for a penny, in for a pound. He said, fuck it, I've started. Let's finish it.
Life is full of mysteries, yeah, but there are answers out there and they won't be found by people sitting around looking serious and saying, isn't life mysterious? Let's sit here and hope. Let's call up the fucking Pope. Let's go watch Oprah interview Deepak Chopra.
God. Wow. His name drops are insane, bro. He ain't worried about shit, really, at all. Tim don't care. He said life is full of mysteries, but there are answers out there, and they won't be found by people sitting around looking serious and saying, isn't life mysterious? No, it'll get found by the ones who go out there and solve the fucking mysteries. That's what he's saying. Wow. He said, let's sit here and hope. Let's call up the fucking Pope. Let's go watch Oprah interview Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra is an American Indian alternative medicine advocate. My God. The level of research that has gone into this right here, just for the references alone, is absolutely brilliant. This is awesome.
If you want to watch telly, you should watch Scooby-Doo. That show was so cool because every time there was a church with a ghoul or a ghost in a school, they looked beneath the mask, and what was inside? Oh, a fucking janitor or the dude who ran the water slide. Because throughout history, every mystery ever solved has turned out to be not magic. Does the idea...
This guy's fucking funny, bro. This guy is hilarious. He said if you want to watch telly, you should watch Scooby-Doo. That show was so cool. Because every time there was a church with a ghoul or a ghost in a school, they looked beneath the mask, and what was inside? The fucking janitor or the dude who ran the water slide. He's making a really important point right here, actually. He said, because throughout history, every mystery ever solved has turned out to be not magic. Yes, that's what he's saying. Wow. Man, that is heavy, actually, when you analyze that inside of your head, what he just said there. He's saying, all of the weird shit that happens, it's all organized. Like, think about this on a deep societal level. All of the shit that happens around you is organized. It's not magic. It's just structured. Bingo.
That there might be knowledge frighten you? Does the idea that one afternoon on Wikipedia might enlighten you frighten you? Does the notion that there might not be a supernatural so blow your hippie noodle that you'd rather just stand in the fog of your inability to Google? Isn't this enough? Just this world?
The point of clarity he even came to for his own self by the end of that rant. He made himself have some realizations. That's fucking hilarious. He said, does the idea that there might not be knowledge, or he said, does the idea that there might be knowledge frighten you? Does the idea that one afternoon on Wikipedia might enlighten you frighten you? Does the notion that there may not be a supernatural so blow your hippie noodle that you would rather just stand in the fog of your inability to Google? He's saying all you have to do to see that all of the things that you're saying right now aren't proven and are untrue is literally Google it and read the actual fucking research documents and shit like that. And once you go down that rabbit hole, if you're bold, you'll go fucking find all of the government papers and stuff like that, and you'll find out what's really happening. That is a for sure thing right there. That is a for sure thing what he just said right there. Everything that you can find, like programs like MK Ultra and shit like that, targeted individuals, so on and so forth. we could make a long ass video about that kind of shit. That's some stuff that is very laced into being a structured, organized government kind of thing. They don't like when you talk about it. They really don't like when you talk about it. He said, isn't this enough? Just this world? He says, you're alive. Shut up. That's what he's saying. He said, we're alive. Just be happy.
Just this beautiful complex, wonderfully unfathomable natural world, how does it so fail to hold our attention that we have to diminish it with the invention of cheap, man-made myths and monsters? If you're so into your Shakespeare, lend me your ear. To gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw perfume on the violet, it's just fucking silly.
Damn.
Or something like that. Or what about Satchmo? I'll see trees of green, red roses too. And fine, if you wish to glorify Krishna and Vishnu in a post-colonial, condescending, bottled up and labelled kind of way, then whatever, that's okay. But here's what gives me a hard on. I am a tiny, insignificant, ignorant bit of carbon. I have one life, and it is short and unimportant. But thanks to recent scientific advances, I get to live twice as long as my great-great-great-great-uncles and aunts. Twice as long to live this life of mine. Twice as long to love this wife of mine. Twice as many years of friends and wine, of sharing curries and getting shitty at good-looking hippies with fairies on their spines and butterflies on their titties.
He took it all the fucking way. Walk outside and tell me you don't see one every time. Don't you lie to me. I don't want a single fucking one of you to lie to me. Do not. Don't you even try. You know he ain't fucking lying. This guy is one of the greatest fucking writers that's ever breathed air. I'm baffled right now. I'm baffled. This is so well done. This is amazingly done. Beautiful conversation piece here. So much in the vein of a Tom Waits kind of thing. He even did the Tom Waits style voice, except it wasn't Tom Waits that he was fucking impersonating. He said, just this beautiful, complex, wonderfully unfathomable natural world. How does it so fail to hold our attention that we have to diminish it with the invention of cheap man-made myths and monsters? He's like, there's so many fucking places on our planet that you couldn't even see them all in one lifetime. He's like, why do you have to make stuff up to entertain yourself? Look around. That's what he said. I love this guy. He said, if you're so into your Shakespeare, lend me your ear. Fuck up, man. To gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw perfume on the violet is just fucking silly. Or something like that. Or what about Satchmo? He says, I see trees of green and red roses too. In the actual voice, you gotta love it, bro. You gotta love it. So there was the intentional misquote, obviously. Man. Lend me your ear, he says. But the original, it ends in his wasteful and ridiculous excess, he said, is just fucking silly. That's the misquote part for those of you that are wondering. 1595 play King John. And his quote, lend me your ear, is also Shakespearean, said by Mark Antony and Julius Caesar at the start of a speech. Okay. Julius Caesar. The intended meaning is that adding mythical narratives on top of the wonder of life and nature is a cheap, spurious embellishment. He's like, I'm just here to fucking live, essentially. And he says that here, right here. He says, and fine, if you wish to glorify Krishna and Vishnu, for anyone wondering what Krishna and Vishnu is, I will read it to you. I already know, but I'm going to read it to you anyhow because some of you might like to know. It refers to the Hindu religion. Krishna is a Hindu god, of which there are many, while Vishnu is an attribute, meaning all-pervading. In a post-colonial, hold on, we gotta get back down here. The lyric sheet's arguing with itself, it's so fucking long. He said, in a post-colonial, condescending, bottled up and labeled kind of way, then whatever, that's okay. Wow. That's one way to say new age. He said, then whatever, that's okay, but here's what gives me a hard on. I am a tiny, insignificant, ignorant bit of carbon. I have one life, and it is short and unimportant, but thanks to recent scientific advances, I get to live twice as long as my great uncles and aunts. Twice as long to live this life of mine. Twice as long to love this wife of mine. Twice as many years of friends and wine, of sharing curries and getting shitty at good-looking hippies with fairies on their spines and butterflies on their titties. If that ain't the motherfucking truth, then I don't know what planet we're on. Still acknowledging the fact that he thinks she's very attractive, though. He's like, I can't help that. This guy. He's got his wine.
And if perchance I have offended, think but this and all is mended. We'd as well be 10 minutes back in time for all the chance you'll change your mind.
Man. Brilliantly done, man. Brilliantly done. That's the one where he got really funny and with the anti-love song right there. Brilliantly done here. I really enjoyed this one a whole fucking lot. Amazing right here. Really awesome right here. I love shit like this. Stuff like this is some of the rarest kind of fucking writing you'll see, actually. You gotta really look into spoken word and stuff like that to get into this kind of lyricism right here. He killed it, man. This is a beautiful storytelling song. Many controversial takes that will offend people, and I appreciate that Tim is willing to say these things and just be himself, no matter what anyone thinks. He says, and if perchance I have offended, think but this and all is mended. We'd as well be 10 minutes back in time for a chance you'll change your mind. So here we go. There's a long annotation for this one right here. First two lines of Minchin's ending are a reference from A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Act 5, in which the fairy Puck breaks the fourth wall and speaks to the audience at the end of the play. If we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, saying, forget what you have seen. You were asleep the whole time, right? He's once again using Shakespeare's words to his advantage, closing the poem neatly as he brings back an earlier pun. Minchin's character knows that people with strong beliefs cannot be argued with, even if every single piece of evidence available contradicts their beliefs. They will continue to believe no matter what. Tim Minchin knows this and acknowledges that ignorance will prevail no matter what. Absolutely brilliant. Amazingly done here. One of the most amazing things we've had on the channel. Tim's one of, like I said, the most unpredictable artists we have on the channel. He always does a fucking incredible job with these songs that we cover on here. I really enjoyed this one a whole lot. This is the kind of art that you have to appreciate. I like that, like I always say about him, I like that he's not afraid to say controversial takes that might offend some people, and I don't care. Personally, you guys know I don't get offended by what people believe and like what they want to say inside of their music and everything like that. When it comes to breaking it down, I'm very unbiased and I can have a genuine conversation about anything without getting pissed off, except for the terrible world issues and stuff like that. We get a little bit heated in those videos, but stuff like this, I appreciate the sentiment of it and I appreciate the place that it comes from. I like the honesty and I like that he is well spoken, even in a debate sort of manner with this song right here. He's very well spoken, and he doesn't leave anything to the imagination at all. There's nothing left to the imagination whenever it comes to this one right here. He covered all bases. He made every point that he thought might need to be made inside of this specific argument. And he did it while sipping a glass of wine at the end, right? He actually brought the Cabernet out for the real performance as well. Tim don't care, man. Tim is one of them artists like that. You gotta appreciate it. I love this. Original video in the description. As always, I love you guys. Thank you, everybody that requested this. Subscribe to Tim. Support the artists we have on the channel. If you need help, please go get it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was really fucking awesome right here. One of my favorites we've done by Tim. Absolutely epic. Because of Kabi. A reaction video today keeps the doctor away. Fuck those apples. Leave a like for me, comment those suggestions, subscribe up this way, bang the notification bell for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you so much. Thank you for everything. Have a blessed night. Peace.